जय गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीर वनचारी यमुना तीर वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी भगवान की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय Reading from chapter 1, text 11, shloka 36. uddāma-bhāva-piśunāmala-valgu-hāsa vrīḍāvaloka-nihato madano yasyām sammuhya cāpam ajahāt pramadottamās yasyendriyaṁ vimathituṁ kuhakair śekuḥ uddāma-bhāva-piśunāmala-valgu-hāsa vrīḍāvaloka-nihato madano yāsām sammuhya cāpam ajahāt pramadottamās yasyendriyaṁ vimathituṁ kuhakair śekuḥ uddāma-bhāva-piśunāmala-valgu-hāsa vrīḍāvaloka-nihato madano yāsām sammuhya cāpam ajahāt pramadottamās yasyendriyaṁ vimathituṁ kuhakair śekuḥ uddāma-bhāva-piśunāmala-valgu-hāsa uddāma-bhāva-piśunāmala-valgu-hāsa vrīḍāvaloka-nihato madanopi yāsām sammuhya cāpam ajahāt pramadottamās yasyendriyaṁ vimathituṁ kuhakair śekuḥ uddāma-bhāva-piśunāmala-valgu-hāsa sammuhya cāpam ajahāt pramadottamās yasyendriyaṁ vimathituṁ kuhakair śekuḥ
vrīḍāvaloka-nihato madanopi yāsām
sammuhya cāpam ajahāt pramadottamās yasyendriyaṁ pulakair śekuḥ not agitate the of the Lord, senses of the Lord. Purport. The path of salvation or the path of going back to Godhead always forbids the association of women, and the complete Sanatan Dharma or Varnashram Dharma scheme forbids or restricts association with women. How then one can be accepted as a supreme personality of Godhead who's addicted to more than 16,000 wives? This question be relevantly raised by inquisitive persons really anxious to know about the transcendental nature of the Supreme Lord. And to answer such questions, the sages at Naimisharanya have discussed the transcendental character of the Lord in this and in the following verses. It is clear herein that the feminine attractive features which can conquer Cupid or even the supermost tolerant Lord Śiva could not conquer the senses of the Lord. Cupid's business is to invoke mundane lust. The whole universe is being agitated by Cupid's arrow. The activities of the world are being carried on by the central attraction of male and female. A male is searching after a mate to his liking, and the female is looking after a suitable male. That is the way of material stimulus. And as soon as the male is combined with the female, the material bondage of the living being is at once tightly interlocked by sex relation. And as a result of this, both the male and the female's attraction for sweet home, motherland, bodily offspring, society, and friendship and accumulation of wealth becomes the illusory field of activities. And thus a false but infatigable attraction for the temporary material existence, which is full of miseries, is manifest. Those who are therefore on the path of salvation, for going back home, back to Godhead, are especially advised by all scriptural instructions to become free from such paraphernalia of material attraction. And that is possible only by the association of the devotees of the Lord, who are called the Mahatmas. Cupid throws his arrow upon the living beings to make them mad after opposite sex. Whether the party is actually beautiful or not, Cupid's provocation are going on. Even among beastly societies who are ugly looking in the estimation of civilized nations. Thus, Cupid's influence is exerted even amongst the ugliest forms, and what to speak among the most perfect beauties. Lord Śiva, who is considered to be the most tolerant, was also struck by Cupid's arrow because he also became mad after the Mohini incarnation of Lord. and acknowledged himself to be defeated. Cupid, however, was himself captivated by by the grave and exciting dealings of the goddess of fortune, and he voluntarily gave up his bow and arrow in a spirit of frustration. Such was the beauty and attraction of the queens of Lord Krishna. Yet they could not disturb the transcendental senses of the Lord. This is because the Lord is all perfect, Atmaram or self sufficient. He does not require anyone's extraneous help for his personal satisfaction. Therefore, the queens could not satisfy the Lord by their feminine attractiveness, but they satisfied him by their sincere affection and service. Only by unalloyed transcendental loving service could they satisfy the Lord, and the Lord was pleased to treat them as wives in reciprocation. Thus, being satisfied by their unalloyed service, the Lord reciprocated the services just like a devout husband. Otherwise, he had no business becoming the husband of so many wives. He is the husband of everyone. To one who accepts him as such, he reciprocates. This unalloyed affection for the Lord is never to be compared to mundane lust. It is purely transcendental, and the grave dealings which the queens displayed in natural feminine ways were also transcendental because the feelings were expressed out of transcendental ecstasy. It is already explained in the previous verse that the Lord appeared like a mundane husband, but factually his relation with his wives was transcendental, pure, and unconditioned by the modes of material nature. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापतकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश। श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान सगना ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादेशतारिणे। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामने गौरतुसे नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुस्तुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Thank you, devotees, for giving me an opportunity to speak on such elevated topic. Not very qualified to speak on this topic. I have no personal realization on these, but please bless me that whatever I speak is in parampara, is pleasing to all of you. And if I speak beyond my realizations, please forgive me. And specifically, this verse will be beyond my realizations. So, we are towards the last verses of chapter 11, Krishna entering Dwarka. And these last few verses are exchanges of Krishna with his queens, and they describe the sweet exchanges. And this beautiful shloka with an elaborate purport here by Srila Prabhupada actually summarizes everything in this. Once I and Sujay Govind Prabhu were discussing on what makes giving Bhagavatam class easy. So one of the thing which makes Bhagavatam class easy is elaborate purport of Srila Prabhupada. Then all our work is done. You just have to repeat what Srila Prabhupada has said. So we have a beautiful shloka. Actually, this shloka is to remove all our doubts that is going in our mind. Sometimes we may think that अरे भगवान के पास 16,000 wives है, what might be he doing? You know, our perverted mind might be thinking like that. So here, Vyasdev actually removes all our doubts over there, that in spite of having 16,108 wives, he was never agitated by them and by looking at them. So this is practically not possible in our mundane life. When we think from our vision, if we have so many wives, we should not have, but suppose if we are having so many women around us, it's practically not possible to feel agitated. Then how does Krishna not feel agitated? So let's understand little philosophically that how Krishna is not agitated by this. So Krishna's body is spiritual and not material. Unlike our body, it is made of panchadhatu, but Krishna's body is not made of panchadhatu. It is spiritual. And Krishna is Atmaram. He does not need, like Srila Prabhupada mentions in his purport. And basically this purport, without these purports, we would have not been able to understand such intimate relationships of Lord with his devotees. So we are very grateful to Srila Prabhupada to have given us this purport. Krishna is Atmaram. He does not need extra stimulus to make him feel satisfied or make him feel happy. He is satisfied internally himself. He does not need that. And his body is also spiritual. And in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that, avajananti mam muda manushim tanum ashritam param bhava ajananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. So Krishna has said that fools deride me when I come here as in the form of human being, in the form of human, but not as a human being. They do not know my transcendental nature, and as the Supreme Lord all that be. Krishna says that in various verses in Bhagavad Gita also, Janma Karma Cha Mai Divyam. Like my birth and my activities are divya. They are not to be considered mundane. They are not to be considered so many demons. Who can claim who can actually claim that a whirlwind demon took me like 200, 300, 400, 500 feet above that person, Krishna killed that demon and landed very safely. We can't claim all this, right? And like few other pastimes we can't even imagine, like Krishna lifting the Govardhan hill, 23 kilometers of a hill, lifting on his tiny finger. Who can claim this? So his activities are very, very divya. And when we hear these activities, we feel, yes, we can't imitate this. So Krishna is great. But again, when we come to these pastimes, our mind gets bewildered. When we hear the pastimes with gopis or the pastimes with Queen of Kunti, again it gets bewildered. Somehow we are actually stuck to these pastimes a lot. I remember that like once I was in Archie's gallery trying to buy a gift card. Actually, my daughter wanted to buy a birthday card for my father. And I was just chanting in the Archie's gallery, and that owner of the Archie's gallery saw me. And he immediately asked me, "You are from Hare Krishna?" I said, "Yes." "I don't understand one question." I said, "What?" "Why does Krishna dance with the gopis?" So, of all the things, he just remembers this. No one asks, why does Krishna lift Govardhan hill on his pinky finger? Why does Krishna kill so many demons? No one asks these questions, but everyone's record is just stuck at this point. No, one devotee, Krishna Bhakt also came to Prabhupada. I had mentioned this in my earlier classes also. And he was asking Srila Prabhupada that I am a devout Bhakt of Krishna, but I am not able to comprehend Krishna dancing with the gopis. And we find the same doubt with Mahatma Gandhi also. He was a great personality, no doubt about it. But he once said that if if the same Krishna whose Bhagavad Gita I am reading dances with the gopis, then I am ashamed to be called as a Hindu. So this, our conception is stuck over there for some time. I mean, and we can't come out of this conception. So, but Krishna doesn't look at us from that perspective. Krishna looks at us from a very different perspective. His body is transcendental, his vision is also transcendental. So, how does Krishna look at us? Krishna looks at the queens of Dwarka, he looks at it from the Bhagavad Gita shloka, he looks at this way. He says, Vasamsi jirnani yata vihaya navani grahanati naroparani. You have come here as queens of Dwarka, but you were rishis earlier in your previous life. So Krishna is looking from that perspective. How can he feel agitated? He feels that these were the great rishis in my earlier period, and just they have changed the dress and come in the form of a female. So obviously he is looking at us like pure soul and not like male and female. It is actually depending on our ichha, or like when we elevate ourselves and want to enjoy with Krishna in different rasas, Krishna gives opportunity to us to enjoy in those rasas. He is not requiring those rasas to be, I mean, he doesn't want to be satisfied by performing those rasas. But because devotees want to enjoy Krishna in that rasa, Krishna is allowing that to happen. So once Srila Prabhupada, like Krishna does not see a woman and a man, actually speaking, in real sense, he does not see a woman and a man. And Srila Prabhupada was once asked by one devotee, one Mataji actually, she said, Prabhupada, what is marriage in Krishna consciousness? And Srila Prabhupada said, there is no marriage in Krishna consciousness. Everybody is female and everybody is married to Lord Krishna. There is no conception of marriage. So that is how Srila Prabhupada answered that question. And that question that one devotee asked, right, that I cannot comprehend Krishna dancing with the gopis. Then Srila Prabhupada waited for some moment, and then he asked him, what do you mean by God? He said, God is great, and he's the possessor of everything. Then he saw his wife next to him. So who is this? And he said, he knew from where Srila Prabhupada is coming. So he said, she's my wife. Who does she belong to? So she said, yeah, she belongs to Krishna. Then you are the adulterer. You are actually having illicit relationship with your wife. Your wife is belonging to somebody else, but you are actually performing illicit relationship with your wife. So this is how we should understand, because otherwise we are always stuck in that two questions. And some of them ask these questions because they want to understand, if Krishna can enjoy, can I also enjoy? Krishna ke paas 60,000 hai, 16,000 hai, mere paas 2, like yesterday Prabhuji was saying, at least 2. These are our inbuilt, deep-rooted lust and calm that comes out, that, okay, I should also enjoy. That's why they ask these questions. The person actually in Archie's wanted to not get his doubt clarified. He wanted to see if there is a provision in our Shastras which can help him enjoy, so that he can quote Shastras and enjoy. So if we don't understand these in parampara and through the books and teachings of Srila Prabhupada, very difficult to understand these pastimes. We may almost for sure get confused by these pastimes, and we may think that maybe Krishna might be performing lusty activities with his wives. No, but it is very clearly written over here. He had not a tinge of lust in his dealings with his wives. So Srila Prabhupada clarified, that this is very, very sinful. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says this attraction between men and women is actually the cause of the whole material creation. And a beautiful verse comes in Srimad Bhagavatam 5th canto. Actually, This purport is actually from a verse in 5th canto, where Lord Rishabdev is talking to his sons. And he says, Pumsam punsa striya mithun bhavametam tayor mithu hriday granti mahu ato griya kshetra sutapir viter janasya mohayam aham mameti. So what it means is, Pumsya stri mithun bhavametam. The attraction between male and female is the basic principle of this entire creation. This entire creation is actually designed to attract male and female. And it is also said in many, purports, Srila Prabhupada mentions that a male is like butter and the female is like fire. The moment they come together, the male has to, or the butter has to melt. So this is how the condition, how this material existence is created. And we find a very beautiful story in our Shastras about Vibhadanka Muni and Rishi Shinga. Vibhadanka Muni's son was Rishi Shinga, and he wanted his son to be away from all forms of female bodies. So they lived in a forest where the animals were also males, the tiger and everybody were also males. He did not want his son to be associated with women at all. And he brought up his son in such a nice way that, his son would always ask his father, should I do this activity? Should I do this activity? And his father would would guide him how to do these activities. So nearby kingdom was Rompad's kingdom, King Rompad's kingdom, and he was cursed by Indra that there will be drought in his kingdom. And somebody told him that if Rishi Shingi comes over here and performs a sacrifice, then your kingdom will get rains. So they all knew that, Rishi Shinga does not even look at females. He does not even know there is something called as females. So what did they do? They called some society girls and they made them dress like rishis. And they sent them to attract Rishi Shinga when his father is not there. So when his father was away, actually description is written that the whole boat was like an island with all, hut and everything. And they were waiting for his father to go away. And the moment his father went away, these females, they came in the form of rishis. And they came and, first they gave them cooked food. Actually, Rishi Shinga did not even eat cooked food. He ate only raw food. And he was amazed by something like cooked food. And then they asked him to come to this boat. Actually, it was a boat, but it was a kutir inside on the boat. And there was so much attraction by, Rishi Shinga, when he saw the rishis, though they were in the, in the dress of a rishi, but he felt some different kind of reaction when he saw them. He was so much attracted to them, which means that this calm, even if you are not around women, this calm is deep-seated in our heart. And this lust is deep. And the moment even the vicinity of women, it starts melting. So then it so happened that he went over there and then he performed the yajna and he got rains for the king. And the king actually married his daughter Shanta to Rishi Shinga. Shanta is actually Lord Ramchandra's sister. She was given as for adoption to King Rompad. So what it shows over here is that even in spite of we are not associating with women, the moment we come in the vicinity of the women, we can be attracted to them. Then the next line says, Tayor mitho hriday granti mahu. So what happens after that attraction? Once we marry, hriday grantim, hriday means there are knots inside our heart that are formed. And these knots are, this is my husband, this is my wife, this is my children, my wealth, my property. And these knots keep on getting bound and these knots are very, very difficult to break. So here, this shloka says that it is very, very difficult to break these knots, and attachment to women is very, very dangerous and sometimes even fatal. Like we hear in 4th canto, text number 25, where Puranjana is also attracted to just by the lifting of eyebrows of the women. That the eyebrows were lifted and he got attracted so much. So he was a hero. He was supposed to be a hero, but he was attracted by the eyebrows of a woman. And then there is a fall down that we see. Srimad Bhagavatam has so many texts talking about it. Even in the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes that earlier times there were Vishakanyas. So Vishakanyas are girls who were fed small quantity of poison from their birth, small poison. Some die, but some stay alive. And because they were given in small quantities before their puberty, they are full of poison. But they are able to resist that poison, they become immune to that poison. And these kings and politicians actually used Vishakanyas to kill their enemies. Like how we have honey traps, right? In today's world, where people or army officers are lured by women, and then they are honey trapped and they reveal all the information. Like that, the Vishakanyas just used to kiss them and they used to die. So this is very, very dangerous. Even in Grihastha life, it is, Srila Prabhupada mentions so many times that we should restrict the physical association with one's wife. So once Srila Prabhupada was talking with his devotees, and Haigriv Prabhu asked, like Srila Prabhupada was saying that, Grihasthas should have physical relationship maybe only once in a month to procreate. When they are ready for procreation, only once in a month. And Haigriv Prabhu said, Srila Prabhupada, only once in a month? That's very difficult. And Srila Prabhupada, yes, it is very difficult. Then Haigriv Prabhu said, then it's better to become a brahmachari. Then Srila Prabhupada said, yes, you got the point. So it is, very, very difficult to remain in association of women, and we can actually fall down. So this part of the section was actually, for the brahmacharis over here who are here. But the next section, maybe I will touch base for the grihasthas, because already we have gone into that ashram. So, this section we will focus on that. And Srila Prabhupada actually gives a very nice verse from Satya Samhita, which says, Brahmadya yagya valkadya muchyante stri sahayina bodhyante kechana itesham vishesham cha vidu. Brahma, what it says is, Brahmadya yagna valkadya. That there are some elevated personalities actually for whom wives and children are not bondage. In fact, they help in their Krishna consciousness. So here this shloka says that actually even if you are married, you can still perform devotional service, and you can still devote your ashram. You can devote your ashram for Gurus and Krishna service. And we hear very beautiful story from Ramanujarya, that once Ramanujarya and his disciples were traveling to a village actually they were traveling from Srirangam to Srisailam, and they decided to halt at one of their disciples' house. Actually, there were two disciples. One was Yagnesha and other was Vardacharya. Varadacharya. So they decided to go to Yagnesha. He's actually was a rich man, and they decided to go over there. So Ramanujarya sent his disciples earlier to intimate him that we are coming. And that devotee got so excited that my Guru Maharaj is coming, that he decided, he just left everything and started preparing for his arrival, not noticing that his disciples had come over there to intimate, and they should also be taken care of. So these disciples went and told Ramanujarya, that Yagnesha, he did not even treat us well, he did not even give us water. And Ramanujarya got very offended. And he said, I will not go to this place. I will go to Vardacharya. He was a very poor man, but he was very devout to Lord Vishnu. And he had a beautiful wife, Lakshmi. So he used to live on begging alms. But, he was so poor. And when they went over there, he had already left for begging alms. Vardacharya had already left. And only his wife was there, Lakshmi. And when Lakshmi saw his guru coming, she was very excited, and she actually said, please have a seat. Actually, go and take a bath while I'll perform a nice meal for you. I will offer it to Lord Narayan and prepare nice meal for you. So Ramanacharya and his disciples went for taking bath, and she went inside the kitchen, and not a grain was there inside the kitchen. Not a small drop of grain was there. And then she was thinking, what should I do? My Guru Maharaj has come. And then she remembered that nearby there was a businessman, actually a merchant, who was selling all these ingredients. He was always attracted to her. And that merchant had given enough indications to her through the female associates that he wanted to enjoy her. But she did not. Being a chaste woman, she never went over there. But this time she thought, to serve my guru for a higher purpose, I should go to him. And she went to him and said, you want to enjoy with me? I'll come and, and give myself to you in the evening. But today I need these ingredients to prepare for my Guru Maharaj. That person was surprised. The day has come, the D-Day. Immediately he gave everything what she required, and she prepared a sumptuous meal. And in that meantime, his husband came, and he saw and he heard what his wife had done. And what did he say? These are the words that he said. Oh, I'm blessed, I'm blessed. He addressed his wife. Today you have shown the highest degree of chastity. Imagine, the word uses chastity. Addressing his wife, he said, today you have shown the highest degree of chastity. Narayan, who is represented by Shri Guru, is the only Purusha. And thus he is the enjoyer of Prakriti. Only a great soul can fully realize this knowledge of devotional service. How fortunate I am to be married to such a lady whose embodiment of religious principles. So this is the way they serve their Guru and serve their Krishna. So they use their ashram. And when Ramanacharya actually heard this, he said, you take this prasadam and go. And he instructed even Vardacharya to go along with her. And you stand outside. And he told that, Lakshmi, you should first feed prasadam to that businessman. And when the prasadam was fed to the businessman, he was out of his lust. He actually fell down at the lotus feet of Lakshmi, and he said, oh, I'm so sinful, I was full of lust. But just by your association, I'm able to come out of this lust. So this is the way a grahastha can also, take part in devotional service. But in someone may feel that in this time and age, is it really possible? In this Kali Yuga, can we offer our Krishna? We see statistics shows that 50% of the first marriage and 60% of second marriage end up in divorce. More than 200,000 couples, they end up in divorce in the first year of marriage. They don't even complete their anniversaries. So in this age, is it really possible? And while we may talk big philosophy, we can also become victims of it. This divorce and in this age of Kali Yuga, any one of us, especially grahasthas, we can become victim of this divorces and so many issues that go on in our married life. And His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj was actually sharing that only one thing can unite grahasthas is the higher principle. If they unite based on higher principle, if they feel Maharaj was giving his story, how his parents were contemplating on divorce, but just because Richard, which is His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj, did not like it, he actually ran away from the house when he heard. Just for that higher principle, they united with each other and they remained. Otherwise, they were almost on the verge of divorce. So we can talk about, what can go wrong in married life and how we can actually dovetail our married life into Krishna's service. So I'll just spend few minutes talking about that. 4 things that can threaten a relationship. One is criticism. And this is the first thing that we should avoid, and this is the first thing that comes out in a grahastha's married life. So, immediate statement comes out. What is the point in doing so much service? पति को देखभाल नहीं करते, in-laws को देखभाल नहीं करते. Always we start with this. Criticism is the first thing that comes out. And this actually may sound that we may use this to correct that person, but statistics have showed that criticism has never person. It has actually degraded the relationship. In fact, why criticism does not work is because while you are criticizing, you are devaluing a person, which the person does not like. Second is, you are also making him work under you, which does not want to subordinate. So criticism is the first threatening thing in a relationship. Second threatening thing that can come in a relationship is disrespect, contempt. You know, we would have heard so many statements, at least I have heard so many statements like this. There is no point in talking to you. Disrespect. You're worse than a dog. We disrespect. The idea of this disrespect is that we want to hurt that person. And His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj says that we know each other so well that we know where that person will feel the pain. And we talk about those pains only in while disrespecting that person. The third thing that can fail a relationship is defensive. We become very defensive. अरे तू दूध का दूल्हा है क्या? You are born from, you आसमान से टपके हो क्या? So what in that we do is we try to defend our wrongdoings. So while defending, while talking about the other person, we are defending our wrongdoing. You are not Dudh ka Dula, you are not come from, you are not Lord Ramchandra. We are trying to defend our relationships, our shortcomings. So that is also very bad. Third is stonewalling. You don't care. You become a stone. And we expect we have so many expectations from another person, and high expectation that this person should perform this way, that way. And His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj gives a very profound statement that we expect, unlimited things from a limited person. Our expectations are so high. We are limited, but our expectations from our partner are very, very high. So this spiritual life is not automatic. We need to make, and Grahastha life is, we need to make a lot of adjustments in our life. Introduce, Krishna, we'll take some 5-7 minutes. If this is very important for at least Grahastha. So this spiritual life is not automatic. We need to make a lot of adjustments. A lot of work needs to be done. Sometimes we may think we are chanting, we are reading Srimad Bhagavatam, we are doing devotional service. But that's not enough. We are not changing our behavior. Once a story comes, one man went up the mountain hill and he saw women in meditation. And he said, "What are you meditating on? Alone?" She said, "I have a lot of work to do." And that man said, "What lot of work? I don't see any work to be done for you. You don't have any work." She said, "No, I have a lot of work. I have to tame 2 hawks, 2 eagles, 2 rabbits, 1 snake which is imprisoned inside 32 cages, and 1 lion who's full of ferocious. I have to tame them." And that man was amazed. I don't see any of these animals around you. You don't have any work to do. She said, "I have a lot of work. First, the 2 hawks are my 2 eyes. They magnify everything. They magnify the good also. They magnify the evil also. I have to tame them to look at only the good things. Second is, I have to tame 2 eagles, are my hands. I do a lot of destructive things with my hands. So I have to tame them. I have to, change their behavior. Third is, I have to tame my legs, which are like rabbits. They want to go here and there, but they are very afraid to take rabbits are actually, they are very afraid animals. They are prey animals. So my my legs are very afraid. The fourth is, my body, like a donkey. Actually, she says I have to tame a donkey also. It is so lethargic, it is so lazy that he doesn't want to perform any activity. So I have to train that. Then I have to train my tongue, which is actually like a snake in between 32. 32 is our teeth. Because the tongue is like a snake, it goes and spills only poison whenever it comes out. So I have to tame that. And last, I have to tame the lion, which is full of ego, my false ego, which feels that he is the center of the whole universe. What we also have lot of things to do, lot of work. In spite of we taking up lot of devotional service, if we don't change our behavior, it is not going to help. Like Gaurang Prabhu says in one of his lectures, that sometimes devotee are like lions and wolves. There are lions and wolves devotee. So he says that once there was a wolf who was a devotee, and the lion comes, and the lion sees the wolf, and he thinks, oh, this is my prey, and he goes running towards him. And the wolf prays, oh Krishna, because wolf was a devotee. He said, oh Krishna, please make this lion a devotee. And he's closing his eyes and praying. And then he opens his eyes, and the lion is sitting like this. What is the lion doing? He's saying, Mahaprasade Govinde. So what it really means is that we may come into Krishna consciousness, but our behaviors don't change. And we have to change our behaviors consciously. It is not going to change automatically. We have to put lot of efforts. And this behavior, there are just 4 points I will touch base. First thing that grahasthas should do is positive affirmations that they need to make. Mark Twain actually once said that if one gives me one compliment, I can live happily for 2 months. And if he gets 6, he can live happily for 1 year. Suppose if we do that with our wives, and one compliment, 1 year, no chinta, no problem at all. So this is, and this is not, mundane. Actually, if you read Srimad Bhagavatam, we see various verses, verses after verses, we will see how, great sages or Krishna also talks very nicely, praises her wives. Like Kadama Muni said, O respectful daughter of Satyabhama Manu. So, respectful daughter, अपन क्या बोलते हैं? अरे तेरे माँ बाप कैसे रहेंगे? ऐसे औलाद को जन्म दिया. We talk in such languages. And what is he saying? Oh, respectful daughter of Satyabhama Manu. Today I am very much pleased with your great devotion and most excellent loving service. When would we have said, like my wife also does so many cooking for so many programs. I have never said, oh, thank you. You have done such loving service. You have cooked meal for so many. We have never said that. We never appreciate our spouses or each other. Since the body is so dear, embodied beings, Kadama Muni is saying, the body is so dear to embodied beings, I am astonished that you have neglected your body. Have you ever said that to our wives? You have neglected your body? Never. So Kadama Muni is so thoughtful, and he feels that I am a rishi. I have lived in forest. I can do austerity, but my wife has come a different background. So he's that thoughtful. He is thoughtful about the background that a wife comes from. We also need to be thoughtful that our spouse would have come from different background. They have come from maybe a rich family, and we have to provide them comfort because they are not used to the austere life. Second is quality time that we need to spend. Hare Krishna. Okay, 2 minutes, last 2 minutes, and I'll end it. Quality time. If we see quality time, Krishna spends so much nice quality with his queens. And Krishna is talking to Rukmini, and he is actually joking. He tells Rukmini that, I am not a fit husband. Shishupal was a fit husband for you. People know that I am a coward. Everybody knows that I am a coward. You need somebody who is well built, strong, who can protect you. And he's like that, joking and talking to Rukmini. And Rukmini becomes so sad, and she starts crying. And then Krishna says these words, which is very important for Grahastha. And he says, oh, my dear beautiful wife, you know that because we are householders, we are always busy in many household affairs and long for a time when we can enjoy some joking words between us. That is ultimate gain in our household life. So this is how we should spend our quality time. Third is dadati pratigranati, giving gifts. And so these 6 loving exchanges are with devotees, and your wife is also a devotee. So we should exchange gifts with our devotees. We should also help them in mundane activities. Actually, whatever I'm talking about, these are 5 languages of love. There's a book called as 5 languages of love. This is actually from Bhagavatam, but psychologists, they call it different name. What this says is that you have to understand the language of love of your partner, and from that, if your partner is requiring that we spend quality time, then you should take up that activity. That will help your relationship. And the last, which has actually helped me, is take up some service together. Do bhakti shastri together, or read or learn shlokas together, or do something for a higher purpose. That really helps in making sure relationships improve. And just want to conclude, if you see these pastimes that were happening between queens of Dwarka and Krishna were not like newly married couples that was happening. Krishna was 125 years old, okay, more than that, and the queens were offering their glances and as if they were newly married. Why they were able to do that? Actually, Prabhupada writes in purport, because they were able to do that because they were performing devotional service to Lord Krishna. That was satisfying. And in devotional service, things become newer and newer. And you would have seen in your life also, when you came to newer devotional service, you begin with very meager devotional service. Then you become more encouraged. Then you want to do more and more and more and more. So Krishna becomes younger and younger. And in other pastimes, in other verses also, it is written, Krishna's feet look younger and younger. Krishna looks ever younger when we perform devotional service to Krishna. So that way we can actually, conduct our devotional service to Krishna, and we can also perform our devotional service in Grahastha ashram. But the best is Brahmachari ashram. We can avoid. If we can't avoid, we can take up Grahastha ashram and try to dovetail our propensities in Krishna's service. Thank you very much. Sorry that I exceeded time. Srimad Granth Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna.